PvP games. Are they dying? Are they still good to be bought? What is the temperature on PvP games? That is the main question today. I love PvP games. PvP is like the reason why I love games so much. But I had a question the other day while I was at work, was what was the real reason why I like PvP games and why don't I enjoy them as much, and why don't people get into them as much as they did before? And why aren't they like the major sellers? Because like most times when games come out nowadays, PvP is usually shit, or people don't really play the game for PvP. Like PvE be the more popular thing, and a lot of PvP games like Overwatch was trying to add PvE, and that was like the major selling point. And even like the game that just came out, Arc Raiders, is a PvP game, but it has a PvE element into it, and I believe that's why it's succeeding. And I'm gonna just spitball my thoughts on why PvP is not as prevalent as it was back in the day, and why I actually like PvP, or why I thought I liked PvP back in the day. I'm gonna use RuneScape and Melee, Smash Bros, and like fighting games in general as like a benchmark. Back in the day, I used to love RuneScape for its PvP, and today I don't really enjoy it as much. I mean, obviously it has cheaters in the game and stuff like that, but I think that I liked PvP back in the game because I had an advantage over other people. I didn't really like a even match. Sometimes I did, or I like shit that's like, even like back in the day, like it's a level system, and I used to like to fight people higher level than me, but I still had more knowledge of the game, so I had an advantage. But they also had a better odds because of their levels, but at the end of the day I had an advantage because I had more knowledge on the game. And I think that for me, I liked to have more of an advantage and to bully other people that didn't have the same knowledge of the game. But now that a lot of games are making it more skill based and more rather everybody's on the same playing field, where it's like more of just skill, or like more of like in certain games like a specific class will always win if your skill level is still the same. So like your level is saying like you have a specific build, and if the other person has that same exact level but a different build, you just lose. So like mages lose to rangers lose to melee, and melee loses to mage. And if you all were the same level and the same skill, that trifecta or that triangle will hold true. And that's with like MMO PvP and things of that nature. But like the real PvP, like fighters and shooters, why are they dying? Why aren't they as popular as before on their own? I believe that it's because of the time investment into the game. It's more, PvP is not only learning every minuscule, every mechanic, every trick, and learning each meta, which is constantly changing, but it's also psychology at its root. If you take somebody that is very good at the game, that knows every little detail about the game, versus somebody else that knows every little detail about the game, it comes to psychology, patterns, and things of that nature. And it's like a million things that you have to think about while you're in the middle of a game to basically pull ahead of another person, and also controlling your own nerves and psychology. And I think that's why I like it, but that's also the challenging thing as to why people don't push PvP in games that much, or people fall off, because it's easy to get into. Yeah, you want to be better than another person, flex on another person. It feels good to beat somebody else. But once you get to that, past that middle level of player and start going to the higher echelons of players in PvP, you can't go back. And then your enjoyment for the game is it leaves. You know what I'm saying? Because beating on noobs it doesn't fulfill you as much. But then when you think you're super good and you get to another level, you get crushed. by somebody else. Like, I would say like there's 1 million players in a PvP game, or we can do like 100,000 for a smaller number. And if you're better than literally, I would say 450,000, if you're in the top 50K of players, you have so many levels going up that next 50K. That first 450K really doesn't mean shit. But that next 50K can feel like forever, because each time you get to another level, you get crushed and put down into the dirt, and you're just like, wow, I didn't know that these people existed, or these people are just so much better. And I can say that with Melee, because like in Melee, the top 20 is just so hard to get to. Even the top 100 is so hard to get to. Top 250. But even then, those players, when it comes to the top 100, to the top 50, to the top 30, to the top 20, to the top 10, and even the top 5 and the top 3, it's an astronomical difference. And I think that's why PvP games are not as prevalent as before, because it takes so much time to just get good at the game, and then you have to constantly play the game. Like even League players, I know that pros used to play 18 hours a day, 16 hours a day, just to keep that fine tuning on their skill so that they can compete with another person. And I think that people, well, I know that people don't have the time anymore. I know that specifically for me, and I'm going to talk for me. I love PvP games, and I would get into PvP games for the fun of it, but will I try to push and try to be the best? No, because I feel like that time sink is just not worth it, especially with I mean, you know, cost of living and money and esports and things of that nature is not as popular as before. A lot of people don't want to do that. So like, I don't know, like that's why I feel like more arena games, free-for-alls, and things of that nature is popular nowadays, because it scratches that PvP itch, but it's not as hardcore with a 1v1 like it is in fighters, or like a team thing like League of Legends and things of that nature. And I think that's why PvP is dying, and I think that's also why PvP and MMOs don't really work, and why PvP-centric games aren't as high on the charts as they were before. And almost every PvP game nowadays, or successful sales that used to be PvP, add PvE or add an arena into it, and that's usually the more popular game mode when it comes to PvP. Because even with like World of Warcraft, I dipped into that a little bit, and I played the PvP in that. Arenas 3v3 or 1v1s is not as fun as the big ass fucking 25 versus 25, 50 versus 50. And even like Lost Ark, I dabbled into that. I had like 100 hours in that when it came out, and I played for the PvP. But the 1v1s I didn't really enjoy. I mean, because I was just not as good as the other players. And then you have to play the meta. You can't play what you want to play, because you're in a 1v1 situation, and you could be better than another person, but if they play that specific class, you're just cooked. I played the free-for-all, getting kills a lot in Lost Ark. But I want to just think about, I want y'all to think about what I said, y'all thoughts on PvP, and why do you think that PvP is not as popular as it was back in the day? And also, is there something that game developers can do that can find like a middle ground that, I mean, would keep people playing more, rather in like a 1v1 in a more competitive setting, that makes people want to get into it more? Because I feel like in 10 to 15 years, really 10 years, because it's going down now, like the fighting game community is just gonna die. I feel like there will probably be like 1 or 2 fighting games that are just people will watch and respect, but all of the fighters, it won't be that many. Like Melee is dying. Rivals of Aether 2, it had a good run, but I don't think it is popular. I think that Tekken will probably still be one of the top dogs. Tekken Ultimate, still one of the top dogs, because it's easy to understand. And I think that maybe like Mortal Kombat or something like that, but those will be probably like the big threes. And I also like the Riot Fighter. No one's playing the Riot Fighter, but everybody was talking about the Riot Fighter. I even downloaded the Riot Fighter. It's in beta right now. It's not out, to test it, and it was just too complicated for me. I didn't even want to learn it. Like, it looked cool. Like, it definitely looks cool. But when I really got into it and started trying to learn the game, I just said, fuck that shit, man. It's too complicated. And if I didn't if I didn't play or learn Melee while I was a child, I'd probably not get into it nowadays either, because it's just too complicated. The tech is too crazy, and it's just like, why the fuck would I do this just so I can get my ass whooped? You know what I'm saying? But that's just my rant on PvP games. I want to know you guys' thoughts. If you know anything that could, like, just spitball ideas. Will I still play PvP? Fuck yes, because that's what I love at the core. But will I push it to be the best in the side of a game? No. But I definitely, if a new game comes out and the PvP looks good, I would definitely try it for the funds and the shits and the gigs. But to be the best of the best, fuck no. That's also why I'm not the best in Melee. You can call it cope, but I feel like that if I really tried to be the best in Melee, I would. But I would have to swap my characters and play Fox. That's another reason why I don't do it. Why try to be the best player if I'm not playing the best character in the game? Because I play Falco. As you can see in this video right here, Falco players stand up. He's the funnest character to play, but he's the worst of the top characters, and I'm going to stand on that 100%. And if you want to argue with me, then you can find me on Discord, or you can fight with me in the fucking comments, because I've thought about every fucking thing when it comes to Falco, and the reason why he's declining in popularity or like matchups, and why Mango was the best, because he was the only person who can win a super major with Falco solo. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and peace the fuck out.